Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome everybody, Kevin Jackson here. I love talking about real stories of real people, and particularly those who get it. Those in entertainment fascinate me when they get it. And you guys remember Pullman? I think his name is Bill Pullman, 61 years old, True Lies, a lot of movies, died recently, kid from Texas, guy from Texas. Obviously he's not a kid, but I'm saying he was a kid from Texas, grew up in Texas. And his politics were, based on everything I've read about him, pretty conservative. But other than being a country boy, and he always, talk like this. And I remember in True Lies where he says, body like a 10-year-old boy, make you stand up and beg for buttermilk. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, wants to punch him. You remember? I know you guys remember you remember the movie, right? My producers, you have to ask them because they're young. How old are you guys? Like 13? Can y'all legally work here? Anyway, so Pullman, everything I read about him, country boy, family guy, blah, 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 never talked about his politics. But when you look at his life and you read between the lines, you see he's kind of a conservative. Didn't wear it on his sleeve. And that's why he probably kept himself working pretty much in Hollywood all the time. But I value that versus a De Niro. I can't stand to even look at Robert De Niro now because he's such, Trump is an embarrassment. Really? How so? If Trump is an embarrassment, what must Obama have been? I mean, Trump is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Accomplished? We've gone over this man's record in comparison to Barack Obama, and to even mention Obama in his name, somebody ought to just slap you. In the same sentence with Trump is what I meant to say. You can't mention those two together. Trump makes Obama look anemic. And that's just the truth. And I would be saying that if you flipped it. If Trump had Obama's record and Obama had Trump's record, I would tell you Obama is a rock star in comparison to Trump. As much as I may like the guy, if Obama's record were Trump's and we were comparing Reagan, I'd say I got to hand it to Obama. He's doing better than Reagan right now. Said nobody ever. Anyway, I applaud the guys, the people who don't get so caught up in their celebrity that they feel like, you know what, I'm a comedian. I should be able to tell you how to feel, in terms of your politics. If you want to be funny, Dave Chappelle is one of the funniest political comedians on the planet. And you can't figure out what he is. Other than his dope smoking and occasionally giving you a little tidbit here or there or playing to the audience, Dave Chappelle is an enigma. He walks that line. He bounces back and forth. That's what it's supposed to be. You shouldn't be so blatant. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm a blatantly conservative comedian. I tell jokes that, excoriate the left. But if Donald Trump screwed up, I'd jump him too. But I'm only blatantly conservative because leftist comedians get so much attention. Donald Trump, he likes to grab women by the blah, blah, blah. You're so funny, Amy Schumer. Or somebody else. They're not funny. They're not talented. They're just mean. And their humor, I can watch a bit, a segment, they call it a set. I can watch a set for 5 minutes max if somebody's like just beating up on another side. Humor should make even the people that you're deriding laugh at you. That's good humor. Donald Trump doesn't generate enough of that humor. Blah, 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 blah. The mannerisms of Trump, hey, sorry, I'm done with them. That, I get it. It's humorous, but it isn't funny if that's what you're going to carry your show with. Anyway, Kevin Hart, you probably know him, black guy, does a lot of things with The Rock now. Huge success now. I love how Kevin he's used an old comment. Yeah, it only took me, 10 years to find overnight success. But he's feasting, commands top dollar in movies, and he makes a lot. Stand-up performances sell out in almost every venue. But it didn't start out that way for Kevin Hart. He was born July 6, 1979 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Youngest of two boys. raised by his mother, Nancy. If this story is starting to sound a little bit, like mine, excuse me. Hart's father battled cocaine addiction. Really? So did mine. It landed him in and out of jail. My goodness, so did mine. Hart says humor provided a coping mechanism for his life, but fame from humor didn't come easy. Hart worked the comedy circuit. I refused to. He admits he didn't find success until he decided to use his life as a backdrop of his comedy. He learned he could make people laugh with his reality. Being real was his true success. I stop right there because I want, if you've got youngsters in your home, if you're a teenager listening to me, I want you to just remember what I just said. Kevin Hart was doing what everybody else was doing, and when he decided to be real, to tell his story, that's when he found success. See, that is the mark of success, when you can be real. And recently, Hart told the entertainment world that he doesn't believe it's his job to bash Donald Trump at every turn. Dave Chappelle said the same thing. He said, what? Psst, what do you want me to do? He goes, all the jokes about Trump are done already. And it's only going to get tougher for the left because you can't joke about a guy who's giving you success. Oh, yeah, look at my stock market. Yeah, it's the biggest ever. Look at that. It's an amazing market. And do all the finger stuff. But the fact of the matter is, if your portfolio is going up, you're a happy camper. Hart says it's his job to make people laugh. That's it. He says he's opening up about why he doesn't see the value of trashing President Trump. And here's what he says. The way I see it, my job as a comedian is to spread positivity, to make people laugh. This is the highest grossing comedian. Now, you can measure any way you want. I mean, De Niro makes a lot of, all these guys are rich, but Kevin Hart is saying, he's giving him the secret decoder ring. Leave Trump alone. He says, I don't want to draw attention to what's already pissing us as a people off. It's a sentiment that the What Now star first explained earlier this month in an interview with Variety, in which he said avoiding politically charged comedy keeps him from alienating a portion of his audience. And I talked about this with Amy Schumer, who did her set recently, and 30% of her audience walked out. Luckily for her, on a ticket it says no refunds. But do you think those people are going back? He says when you jump into the political realm, you're alienating some of your audience. What's brilliant is for Hart to recognize that nobody cares about his political opinions. Funny guy, nice guy. Joke about the president when warranted. However, the daily bashing of Trump's that most, and I use this term loosely, comics of today use as a crutch has grown tiresome. It's unbelievable. I listen to these people and go, do you know anything else? Can you actually frame out a joke? Dave Chappelle, I swear, you got to see his latest two specials. They are excellent. Anyway, Gingrich said this a while back about comedy. He says, the problem you have with humor in America today is that Hollywood is so enraged at Trump that they can't be funny. All they've got is pure anger. That's what's coming out in this stuff. And then they think it must be funny because they're called comedians. And then they exhibit their anger, almost a pathology on late night television. And you're supposed to laugh because, after all, they're comedians. They ain't funny because they're too angry to be funny. Completely agree. I predicted what Hart was saying back during the election cycle, folks. I also predicted Trump's win. Have I mentioned that today? Ironically, most of Hollywood doesn't even like Hillary Clinton. They just don't know who does. They have to pretend to care for the time being. But Trump's going to win in the end. And I said, and when I wrote this, I said, Dave Chappelle said recently that Trump jokes are already old. They're overused because leftist comics have nothing new to say. Like the media, they run on talking points. Humorless talking points. See, the laugh's been too easy for the left, folks. Say you hate Bush, you win the audience. Until they finally figure out that they just wasted their money. Hollywood, folks, and the rest of liberal America are getting a rude awakening, and it's coming. It's showing itself in so many areas. Nancy Pelosi coming out saying, Antifa, oh, they're bad. Stop criticizing Trump, and so on. When is the last time you've heard of any impeachment of Trump? When have you heard of the Russian story? You know, instead of trying to be funny, these comedians, you know, they try to make a political statement and bash Trump, or they bash Bush, or they bash conservatives. I'm just telling you. And here's a dirty little secret. There are a lot more Trump supporters than the left want you to know, or they want to give you credit for. If you knew how many, you'd never waver on Donald Trump.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.